Okay, we're just going to go the rounds again here. I think.
But you never validated my position, the
And you're
position
not
that I was
listening
forced
to me
into by this
either.
experience.
Anyway.
I am listening to you, Janelle, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to lay it
on an
idea that I didn't want to be around you, and that's not true at all.
I just asked you if you still want to live for marriage, because I'm not sure.
You did the same exact thing to me. Exactly.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. We're 10 days away from the second half of the season of Sister Wives, and actually it's not a full 20 episodes. So it's the next part of the season, I guess is what you could call it, because this next part only has 9 episodes, and it has 5 new episodes and then 4 that are going to be a part of the tell-all. So TLC did release a press release, and I'm not sure how I missed this, but because it's not on their main website and it wasn't in the Warner Brothers press releases, but it was released. And it sounds like they will be finally addressing the passing of Garrison Brown. And the way that it's going to be addressed, we'll have to see how the family responds to it. I know there's some trepidation from some of the siblings about how they plan to make this a part of the show. Some of them don't want it on the show, others do. We already know that Garrison himself was not a huge fan of the show, and some of his last messages had to do with the show and text messages to the producers. So dancing around that, I don't know if it's even going to be brought up in the episode, but the synopsis was released on March 20th, okay? And it's going to include 5 new episodes and 4 tell-alls. It says Sister Wives is back with 5 all-new episodes as the Brown family navigates evolving relationships, living situations, and the heartfelt moments. Then the family sits down individually with host Suki in 4 one-on-one episodes to discuss the challenges they have faced over the past year and some of the most talked about moments of the season. In the upcoming new episodes, Christine and David discuss her difficult past with polygamy, while Janelle and her family settle into North Carolina, planning to buy land and start a new chapter. Mary reflects on her strained relationship with Robin, and then the family celebrates Aurora's baptism. Kody and Robin discuss the future of their polygamous relationship. And as the season progresses, the family must face the tragic loss with the death of their son, Garrison. In moments of reflection and honor, the family members come together to share the cherished memories, visit places significant to their past, and commemorate his life. Following the new episodes, the 4 exclusive one-on-one episodes will offer a deeper look into their struggles, triumphs, and ongoing changes in each family member's life. All of them will start on April 20th at 10 p.m. So I want to just talk about a couple of these details. Christine and David discussed her difficult past with polygamy. It seems like this might be the door that's opening for her to sort of go into the hardest parts of polygamy, those dark corners that she's been refusing to discuss, the trauma she obviously endured. And, I'm on daily basis, just for instance, I'm not going to say who, but just this week, I received an email about someone that left polygamy and deconstructing how the faith was and all the programming they had to get through. And I got another email from a group of advocates that are working to try to get the FBI to take seriously what's happening to children and women in these groups. And I keep thinking about how Sister Wives is brought up in all of these conversations. And the challenge with the show is that for these victims, it almost helped normalize it in a way where it helped sanitize the situation that should never have been sanitized. It left out very critical parts of the faith that would have helped people better understand the plight the women were in. And because of the way that they left out the faith, the show ultimately turned into this like misogynistic view of the women fighting with each other over Kody, really with no mediated voice or voice that says, this is why this is happening, right? It was just like, this is just happening. And then we as fans are taking on that and we're watching them fight. And there's no opposing view as to why this is happening. And that was done strategically. So they weren't allowed to address the abuse. They weren't allowed to bring in any expert to help navigate the situation, to expose it, to say that there's other options. Even when they worked with therapists, they refused to allow the women to work with therapists that might provide them another way out. And anytime they would speak about doing things for themselves, like when Mary wanted to go to school or, when individuals wanted to get jobs outside of the family, it was always like, well, if she does something away from us, then the world will take her. I've seen it happen. And then when someone did something that was outside of the cult, like say Mary, she had the catfishing situation, wanted to go to school, it's viewed like it's wicked. But yet on the flip side, their kids all got to go to school. It was just this weird dichotomy. So I wonder at what point, like, is this the difficult past with polygamy, if it's going to give a more robust view, right? Are we going to get her to start admitting some of those programming challenges that she had? Are we going to start to see that, the way that it was painted and what we showed on the show really wasn't true because she was giving Kody a cloak of charity, right? Because that's one of their beliefs. Like, you're supposed to protect the priesthood authority, which is Kody. And if the women don't think that they have any other options and they have to do this to get to heaven, it just, there's conversations around, is this even consensual? And advocates will say no, because religion is being used in a coercive way to control the women. So I kind of wonder if there will be ever a day of reckoning with any of them. And I hope maybe there is, where they kind of understand like, whoa, this actually was a really bad idea because we showed what the world is. We blew it up. We proved that polygamy isn't good, this kind at least, under this faith, and that we actually might have harmed society by trying to normalize this. So can we start to rewrite the script? I don't know. So with Christine and David discussing that, interesting, right? The obvious biggest elephant in the room when it comes to Sister Wives is Christine's grandfather, Rulin's murder, which they've never discussed on the show, ever. They've never mentioned that he was killed by Ervil LeBaron's wives, that it was this blood atonement issue where he believed he was the true prophet and he was going to kill all the apostates because it was blasphemy for them to pretend like they were the gods when he was the true one, right? He was the mighty man, right? That's never been discussed, nor have the allegations of sexual abuse that were levied against their leader, Lynn Thompson, or the fraud that was perpetuated by Owen Allred, or the various leaders that went to prison for sexual abuse and assault, some against their own children within their own group. I wonder if any of that will ever be addressed on the show. Because I think fans that have watched, or viewers, I don't know if there's fans, that's a part of their lives that absolutely influenced their choices and their world. And it deserves to be told in an honest way. So we'll see what she has to share. Janelle buys land. We already know what she's doing. She's working, she's going to start Tata Farms. We have no idea what Tata Farms actually is because they've been very vague about it, but they're working on it and they're building houses. Mary reflects on her strained friendship with Robin. So Mary's arc, or this next chapter, is going to be about her unraveling, I guess, the manipulation she went through with Robin. And the family celebrates Aurora's baptism. It's interesting that they say the family because I highly doubt that anyone was there other than Kody and Robin. And so for them to say the family, I feel like it's probably only the family. I certainly don't see Janelle and Christine and Mary showing up for Aurora's baptism. I'm sure they weren't invited. Kody and Robin discuss the future of their polygamous relationship. Okay, so they don't have one anymore, right? So there's no polygamists involved in this relationship. There's no other wives, but we already know that Robin's going to try to ask Kody if they want to try again. But Robin gives conflicting statements because she says, on the one hand, she wants to live polygamy. And then on the other hand, she would only do it if there's a guarantee that it would all work out. And there's never guarantees that anything's going to work out. And ultimately in life, nothing actually works out because in the end, we all die. So it can work out in the meantime, but eventually things break apart. Everything is temporary. And Robin wants a permanent solution to a temporary life, which just doesn't really work in the long run. And then it says, as the season progresses, there's only 5 episodes, the family must face a tragic loss with the death of their son, Garrison. In the moments of reflection and honor, family members come together to share cherished memories and visit places significant to their past. Okay, so we know that they all got together. We know that there was some celebrations. They did one in Wyoming and there was one in Nevada. We know that last summer they all went to Wyoming together. They got Christine and Janelle and Mary. They were all there. Kody and Robin were there. But from my understanding, at least from McKelty, there was still a division within the family. There was a lot of still upset feelings. And it sounds like Kody and Robin did not behave the best. And they said things that they shouldn't have said. And I highly doubt any of that's going to show up on a show. I'm sure they're going to guard all of that, right? I'm sure it's going to be viewed as all happy and remembering and honoring his life. And I don't know how fans are going to feel about this. I don't know if even all of the siblings are going to enjoy this because Garrison had some really serious feelings about the show and serious feelings about how the show was impacting the family and serious anger towards his dad and Robin. And for some fans, it's going to feel like inappropriate for Kody and Robin to be able to have a part of that because he had no part of Garrison's life for years. And most of his children were estranged from him. And he was estranged from Garrison at the time of his death. And Kody didn't even show up on the day of his death. He was notified of Garrison's death and he didn't go to the scene. What father doesn't go to the scene when they're notified? He didn't go. Janelle said his dad and him were estranged. That was a part of the records. His last text about, I want to hate you for the good times, but I can't. I miss those days. And it was to production and people from work and Kody and Robin, or not Robin, but Kody and Christine and all these different family members were included. And then we know that several of the siblings have spoken about not wanting to include this in the show because of his feelings. So I'm always conflicted about the stuff when it comes to Garrison, truly, because I feel like the show and the pressure of the show and the way that Kody and his fame and how he treated the family and the fame and the attention and all of the greed and the power he got from the show created so many problems with the kids. And I think Garrison was trapped and highly verbally abused the season before he took his life. Kody has yet to date have a come to Jesus moment about the way that he treated his son. And instead, when he reflected on it, he said that he wishes that he was still here so that he could make him laugh and go out for a beer with him, even though the coroner said that Garrison died as a product of alcohol poisoning. And Christine and Janelle have spoken about the fact that he had problems with alcohol. And they were at least Janelle was trying to get him help before he died. So we'll have to see how it all plays out, you guys. I don't know. I want to know what your thoughts are. I know people have been very sensitive about even talking about his death. I know that people have been sensitive about how the death has been handled. And as I said from the beginning when he died, that they were going to cover it. And here we are. They're covering it. And some of you were so outraged by that idea, you stopped watching the show. So what do you think now? Is it appropriate to cover it? Has time passed and you're like, well, maybe we should? Or do you still stand firm that there's no justice for Garrison as long as Kody has this show? Tell me what your thoughts are about that. And what are your thoughts about the synopsis of the next coming season, next 5 episodes and tell-all? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.